Hey, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Whitney Bateson. And today I want to carry on a bit of a conversation that I had a few weeks ago with Orly because we were talking about selling and how to get more comfortable selling and to do more selling with your audience. And I think a lot of it was about mindset work and how so many of us, usually coming from the health and helping space, are a little resistant to doing more selling. But then also this idea that selling has this negative connotation, that it's sleazy, that it's taking advantage. And especially if you're helping someone with their mental health or their nutrition or medical needs, to sell to them feels like unethical. But there are so many ways to still make sure people know that we can help them and how we can help them and get them to that point of feeling ready to get help from us that don't have to feel sleazy or pushy or anything like that. And so today, I want to just take it really practical and give you a simple framework that you can follow as you are emailing your list. Now, we've also been talking a lot about funnels on the podcast, and hopefully you listened to the funnel series that we went through a couple weeks ago and got working on your funnel or maybe made improvements to an existing funnel. And the whole idea of that is to be building your email list, building your audience, because that is going to be your biggest group of potential clients out there. You don't own your audience on social media and Instagram and the visitors to your Health Profs profile, or even the referrals that you're getting from a doctor's office. That doctor may switch gears, may close down, whatever, and you can't own that audience. You can't predict it. Whereas having an email list of people who are hearing from you every week, who have joined your list, want to be there, that is so valuable because that is a group of people that you can then be offering your services to again and again. And when they are ready, they can move forward. So it really allows you to have a much more predictable flow of clients coming into your business. And as you have new services and offerings that you want to either pilot with people or test out or just straight out offer, then you're going to have a group of people that are already ready and warm for those offers. So it's very important to be emailing your list, to be growing your email list and then emailing them. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about today is how can you be sending sales emails to your email list without it feeling gross or inauthentic, but really having it feel genuine and like it's coming from you and it's coming from a place of help. So we are not talking about doing like a sales sequence. This is just like a regular email that you would be sending to your list. I recommend emailing your list once a week. If you can't get to that, then I would do 2 times a month, every other week, sending an email to your list. And so one of the emails that you send could be these more sales-focused emails, although you may find that the framework that I go through today is actually going to feel like good enough to just be sending anyway as regular emails, because some of the change is just in how we end the email and the call to action that we have at the end. I think the framework that I'm going to go through is really just helpful for creating any kind of content that you want to be putting out to your audience. And then you can decide where you want the next step to be for people, whether it is book a discovery call, check out my sales page, get on a wait list, or just hit reply or download this resource or go read this blog, listen to this podcast, whatever the case may be. So you can send people in many different directions. So the whole idea of how we're going to look at crafting these emails and this process is really starting with the end in mind. So what I first want you to do is just take one of your services that you have right now, whether it is your one-to-one counseling, whether it's packages or individual sessions, or it's a program that you have, a signature program, maybe it's a membership, whatever it is, you're going to apply this framework to that one service. And so then the step that we're going to do first is brainstorm all of the angles and themes that we can pull into these emails to help us create these emails and have these themes directly tie back to that service that we're talking about. So I want you to we're going to do 3 different buckets and we're going to brainstorm 3 topics or themes or ideas within each of those buckets. So you are going to come out with actually 9 ideas, but you don't have to use all of those. It's just going to give you a bank and then you can pick which one feels right for you to move into the next step. So the first bucket that we're going to do is list 3 of the main outcomes people experience from that service. For example, a better relationship with their body, better labs, more flexibility to safely eat out with friends without a flare-up, confidence in their food choices, relief in feeling like they know how to support their loved one's medical issue. So this is going to be unique to your offering and the people you help. And if you help a wide variety of people, just pick one type of client or patient that you work with and think through this. So remember, this is just about generating ideas. You can come back and generate more ideas for different types of clients, different medical conditions, different areas of specialization that you have. You don't need to limit yourself, but I think it is better to just keep focused on one while we go through the three buckets here. So just list 3 right now, 3 main outcomes that people experience from that service. What do they feel at the end? What do they achieve? Where are they in their lives at that point? What are all the good things that come out of working with you through that service? Then we're going to go into the second bucket. We're going to list 3 of the things that people love about the service itself. So if you'll notice, that first bucket was about the benefits. This next bucket is about the features. And this is always really critical when we're talking about any kind of copywriting and positioning a service or a product to people, is we want to separate out the benefits from the features. And we want to lead with the benefits, but we're not really going to worry about like order of things because these are all going to be emails that we're sending and that doesn't matter. But I really want this to be clear that we are keeping this separate between benefits and features. So I really want you in that first bucket to think about the big things that people feel and experience and maybe even measurable results that they have after the end of it. So these are big things that they want in their lives. This is not about the type of service or the way that you work together. That first bucket is really about that big transformation. Then we can go into the features, which I often find people are more comfortable talking about the features and less comfortable talking about the transformation. But if you've worked with clients, they have had results. So don't feel bashful about actually thinking back to, yeah, this person told me this person got here. Jot those ideas down and have them down there. Okay. So then this bucket of 3 things that people love about the service itself. So for example, they loved being able to message you whenever they had a question. If you offer messaging, private HIPAA compliant portal messaging for people between sessions, maybe that's a feature of the offering. They enjoyed the personalized one-on-one calls to feel safe and supported, and they really liked that private place to share things, and they felt like they were really heard and not judged. Maybe they used the handouts between sessions to stay on track. Maybe they loved the meal plans. Maybe they loved the videos so that they were able to learn the why behind the work that you were doing together on live calls. So all of the different things that people really love about the service itself and the mode and method in which you are delivering care, that is what we want to be brainstorming here. Okay, so you're going to have 3 of those. And then our final bucket is 3 of the main reasons that people hesitate to move forward. Now, this is what you might quote unquote call objections, but these could also just be barriers. Think about them as just like, these are things that are nagging in their head or that are keeping them from saying yes and being ready and feeling ready. And a lot of times, these are things that they are just holding as beliefs in their mind that they need help overcoming. It doesn't, obviously, we can always say money, but there's so much underlying that. And there's so much more to a decision than just, do you have the money? Do you not have the money? Do you see it being a valuable service? Do you not? So I wouldn't recommend focusing too much on the money. I would focus on all of the other things that people have either said to you or you just tend to see out there in the wild that you assume or think maybe, okay, this is probably what's holding people back. So for example, people may hesitate because they've tried so many things and they aren't sure this is going to work for them. Or maybe their doctor told them that the only possible way for them to avoid insulin was to start using a medication. And they're really feeling in their head like their body is just broken and there's no other way to avoid becoming insulin dependent. And they're feeling like really just down on themselves and not confident in their ability to actually maybe manage their symptoms without medication. So they're conflicted with what their doctor is telling them. Maybe they aren't sure that they have the time right now. If you're doing biweekly counseling sessions for an hour at a time and they have a really busy schedule and they have kids or they have a really demanding job, they may be thinking, I don't know how I would possibly fit in an hour in the middle of my workday or on a weeknight when I have kids and dinner and soccer practice and all of this kind of stuff. So just really think through, what are those feelings and beliefs and thoughts that people might be having and that hesitation that they are having and holding before saying, okay, this is something that I'm going to commit to for myself. Maybe they're also thinking like they want to try a few other things first. And because, of course, there's always so much stuff on the internet about, oh, you can do this, you can try this, you can try this. And we all know that a lot of it is unfortunately a bit of a gimmick. So what are those things that they're thinking they want to try, or why are they wanting to try all those other things? What do they think those things will get them that your service or working with you is not going to get? So that's that final bucket of 3 reasons that people may hesitate to move forward with you. Now you have 9 possible angles for emails, or a core message that you can have in an email that is directly related to that service that you ultimately are hoping people will move forward and book with you. So this already really helps us in a few ways. We want to make sure that when we send an email, generally speaking, it has one core idea. Now, if you're sending a newsletter that's like a roundup or something, it's a little bit different. You still may have a theme for it. But I'm really talking about these more narrative, story-based, or just a casually written email that you send to people. Having one core idea ensures that that email doesn't get too long, that it doesn't get too complicated, and that it's really just easy for people to read and understand and get that one core message, because ultimately, we want to get this message received and understood. And if we start muddying it with, oh, we're going to talk about this and we're going to talk about this and all of that, then it starts really getting complicated for the reader, and they're probably not going to get it, or they're just going to move on from that email because it's taking a little too much brain power for them to figure out what the heck your point is. So we do want to have one main message per email. And then this is just ensuring that the message that we are constructing for these emails actually has a direct line to a service that you are selling. So that's really important and very powerful. So these ideas can be powerful ideas on their own for social media content, posts you make, even small talks you give in the community. Maybe you would have a few of these points if you're giving a talk or something you want to make sure you cover, but definitely emails that you put out. So these are just good content angles and ideas to have anyway. So now though, I want to make this really easy for you to actually write this email this week and get it sent to your email list. So I want to say too, even if you have not emailed your list in many weeks, maybe even many months, that's okay. They don't remember that you didn't email them. So it's totally fine to get back in touch, send an email, and I really want to challenge you to actually do this exercise today or this week and send that email to your list. And really, actually, what I would love is for you to then forward that email to me as proof that you did it and some accountability, because I would love to read it. I can give you any feedback if you would like any feedback on it. And just seeing that you did it would make my heart so happy. And I'm sure you would feel really proud of yourself that you took action and you got this email out to your list. And the more often that you do this kind of writing and work, the easier it's going to be, trust me. So if you want to take me up on that challenge, work on this email, send this email to your list. I'm going to tell you now how to write the email, but work on this email and then forward it to info@whitneybateson.com so I can see it. And that's just like a little accountability for you to actually do this week. Okay, so step 2 of what we're going to do is we're going to match one of those themes or angles to one of these email topic starters that I'm going to give you. So I'm only going to give you a few topic starters. There are all kinds of different ways that you can write emails to your list, and none of them are wrong. There's a lot of great ones out there. So I'm not saying that these are the end all and be all, and that if you hear of some other angle or you have some other idea that that's wrong. Absolutely not. These are just ones that I think are pretty easy to get the hang of and figure out how you want to write. And they can connect really nicely to this kind of messaging and email structure that we are going for here. The first email topic starter is myths or misconceptions. So these are going to be things that people incorrectly believe, misconceptions they have about the topic or the condition that you help people with, the type of service that you offer, the type of work that you do, whatever the case may be. So it's myths and misconceptions. And then I'm going to give examples for each of these in a second, but I want to just talk through them really quickly too. And then the next one is something that is topical. It's a news tie-in, something recent came out, and it's really great when you can show that you are keeping up to date on the research or the news and really speak to something that is actually being talked about out there in the media, and people may be seeing it, and then you talking about it really just draws their attention to it as well. And then of course it is showing that you're keeping current on stuff. So that's a really great one. And then you can also do a case study. So a case study from an anonymized client or patient that you've worked with, or actually one who's given you permission to talk about their case and the work that you've done together. So doing a case study can be really helpful. It can also be something where it doesn't have to be a specific person. You can almost make it a combo of a few different people, depending on how you're wanting to position the case study. Then the next one is a tip or how to do something. So this is going to be a bit more educational. It is going to give some value to people and just really help them do something small and easy today for something. And then the final one is telling a story. So how you learned this, mistakes you made, just any kind of story. You can even pull from your own daily life, something that happened over the weekend, and you relate it to the themes that we brainstormed earlier. So that is that's the 5. So myths or misconceptions, topical or news tie-in, a case study, a tip or how to do something, and telling a story, like how you learned this, mistakes you made. So let me go through a few examples using those structures and some of the ideas that were generated earlier. So if we wanted to do the tip or educational email, we could have a quick exercise to help someone develop a better relationship with their body and be more body positive, really kinder to the thoughts and things that they say about their body. And then what you can transition to is, this is what we do inside of my program. We work on your relationship to your body, and spots are available, and you could share a little bit more about that specific part of your program that actually works on body thoughts, body relationship, that kind of stuff. So what you're doing is you are taking a specific thing. So in our case, I think this was in the benefit area. It was in the first bucket. So I was talking about how someone may develop and feel like they have a better relationship with their body. They have less negative thoughts about their body and they're more accepting of it. That is a result of working with you in your program. So we can share a brief exercise that you take clients through within your program so they can get a taste of what that looks like, or it can be just keep it super, super short, even one thought that they can change this week about their body and how they're thinking about it and relating to it. And then you can bridge that into talking about, this is what we work on inside of the program. And you can elaborate on that a little bit more. And then the call to action is for inviting them, however you want, apply for the program, visit the sales page, book a sales call, discovery call, whatever you want that to be. So that's going to be the general flow for each of these emails, is that you're going to take the structure and the idea of, okay, is it a tip? Is it a myth? Is it a story? Whatever. We're going to have the basis of it be one of those ideas that we just brainstormed. And then we're going to then transition at the end into talking about how you can go deeper and how you can help people more with this within your program. And then you're going to call to your program. So I'm not going to go through that same flow in each of these examples, but I just wanted to outline how that works. And because we brainstormed these ideas directly related to the service that we had in mind for this, the bridge and the path to transition from the bulk of the email to the call to action feels a lot smoother too. It's not like whiplash, like you were talking about one thing and then suddenly you're like, oh, and then my program. And that can feel like you are just shoehorning a pitch into an email. Whereas this was very intentional. You came up with a topic, an idea that is directly related to the work that you do. And it just makes sense to then explain, hey, if you want to go more and learn more about this, here's how you can do that. Okay, next example. Let's say it's news, that topical angle topic. So maybe research comes out that's showing that lifestyle change impacts a specific lab value that you work with clients on. So you can talk about that research and talk about labs and what this lab value means and why it's really important and the impact that it has on the condition that people are struggling with, that you help them with. And then you can transition into saying that this is something that I work with clients on in my program. We really focus on your labs. We pull labs, we look at labs, all those different kinds of things. So however you want to transition into it, but that is going to be another way where you are bringing in something that has happened in the news, some kind of new news article that's come out, maybe it's getting some buzz, and then you can relate that to the work that you do and then connect that to where people can go next to learn. Okay, the next one, case study. So you could here say you had a client that tried medication for years and this finally made a difference. Working with you finally made a difference. And so this is going to be one where, again, this is more about the benefit and the outcome, and you're talking about really the work that was done and how it worked and what happened and just the full story. So the reader can really see themselves and identify with this person that you're sharing their story. Again, it can be anonymized and you can change details so it never points to a specific person, but then you can be tying it back to how your program and your approach helped with that, or your counseling and whatnot. So case study can be very powerful. You can also do a story. So you can talk about your path to learning counseling skills and what you bring to sessions with your clients and patients. So this is one where this is a bit more of the benefit, more of the feature, where people are just liking your counseling style, they're liking the private sessions, they really find them valuable. And so this is an opportunity for you to talk about, yeah, I really have spent a lot of time honing my counseling skills. It's really important to me. This is the schooling and studying that I've done and all the work that I've done and the amount of years that I've done to really improve my counseling skills, because I've really seen that when I am bringing my best and my counseling skills to my sessions, my clients get the best results and leave feeling really empowered. So this is a great one to just be sharing a little bit behind the scenes and calling out something that is really key to your client's success and letting people know about it, and then inviting people to join you on a call, join you for a session, whatever the case may be. Okay. And then finally, you could do a myth busting, misconception kind of thing, where this is an example where maybe you are a parenting coach or a family therapist, and this myth that people have that dealing with teenage anger is normal and just a phase that you need to survive. And everyone laughs about the teenage years and ha ha ha. But you can really say, like, the suffering is not normal, and the pain that you and your teenager are going through does not have to feel and be normal And this is actually something that you could get help with. And this is what it actually means. Here are some of the things that could be going on that could be addressed by therapy. And this is when you may determine it's time to seek help. So that's a bit of a long email. You may want to cut that into a few different messages, but the main purpose being, this is a myth. This is something that people believe. And I want to set the record straight and explain why this is a misconception and what you feel about it. And then this is going to tie in nicely to saying, I'm here if you are feeling like this isn't normal, this is something that you really want to get help with, I'm here to help you. So that is what we do. We do our step 1 of brainstorming the big angles and topics related directly to your service in those 3 buckets. And then we just take one of those email themes or angles and pick one of those topics that we brainstormed that just feels good to you. What do you feel like writing about? What's inspiring you right now? And then just write that email. It does not have to be long. I would say a few paragraphs. Break those paragraphs up so that people can skim the email pretty quickly. You can bold things. You can throw in a funny GIF if that's your style, or a little image, however you want to do it. But it doesn't have to be a super long email, and make sure that you do have a call to action at the end that is inviting people to take the next step with you. Now, you don't need to do this every week. You don't need to be doing these calls to action to your services constantly. I would encourage you to share about one of your services or offers every few emails. So if you are emailing your list once a week, maybe 1 out of the 3 emails or 2 out of the 3 emails that you're sending to your list that month are going to talk to a specific offer or service and invite people to learn more. And you can play with how much you talk about your service at the end of the email, or how little, how much and how long that CTA is. Sometimes it could be just 1 sentence. If this is something you want my help with, my door is open, I have slots available. So it doesn't have to be super big, especially if your prior email, you talked a little bit more in detail about your program or services. Maybe the next email you want to go a little bit shorter. So all of that is good, but I do need you to actually be talking about your services and inviting people to work with you every few emails. That is the non-negotiable. You need to do it. So you could also use this framework to apply it to other emails too. And then you could, like I mentioned, have the CTA go to something different. So if you really like this framework and it feels good to you and it helps you generate email ideas and it makes sense, and the fact that you've generated topics that are directly related to your services, like that's key and that's wonderful. So if you like this, but you don't want to be calling to book a call, go to my sales page every single email, then you can definitely have the call to action at the end be going to a resource, a blog, just ask them to reply rather than sharing your program or your sales page or something every time. But what I want you to do is get comfortable talking about your services and using your services to drive the content that you create. Think about these topics and these buckets for your services, and then generate ideas from there, and then use those ideas to generate content. And that is going to really help get people familiar with what you offer, how you help them. It hits on all of those things, the benefits, the features, the objections. So if you're putting that content regularly out there into the world, your audience is getting that message, and they're seeing it over time in different ways. Everyone needs to hear things differently. Not everything is going to resonate with every person. So we're taking lots of different angles, lots of different aspects about why working with you is beneficial, or putting that out there as content. And that is going to help a whole lot with getting people to move more quickly towards working with you than if you were to just send one email a month and it was just a newsletter roundup of recipes and some nice things, but not really directly tying to your services. So doing it this way can still feel very authentic, very helpful, very genuine because you are still talking about things that are important to your audience, like doing a tip email where you're talking through an exercise or a little mindset shift that they can get through. That's still super valuable. So yes, you are sharing as well. Hey, if you want more help with this, I can help you, but they are still getting value from that email as well. So just remember that this isn't like straight up hardcore selling. This can still feel very genuine, but we do want to be sharing our services regularly and selling. Now, when you run through all of the ideas that are generated, you can just go back and come up with 3 more ideas in each category. So this can just be an endless pool of ideas and angles that you can keep coming back to for more and more content and more emails. So the offer stands that if you work on this email, send one of these emails to your list this week, forward it to me. I would love to see it. info@whitneybateson.com. And if you try this out and you encounter any issues or questions and you just want to pick my brain for a second, shoot me an email as well. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram @WhitneyBateson, and I would love to chat it out with you. I really hope that you try this week, see how it goes. And remember, the more you do it, the better it's going to feel, the more comfortable it's going to feel, the easier it's going to get over time. All right, I'll see you in the next episode.